him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Smack 'em up, it's time for the only news that matters. And in a new interview with Heavy Metal Peru, W.A.S.P frontman Blackie Lawless spoke about how the current streaming industry has created a climate of consumers not valuing music as a product. Says it's a real problem because music has become disposable. Music is not what it used to be years ago. And years ago, if you wanted a record, you had to work, save your money, and go buy the record. Today's fans don't do that. The music, it's like into the kitchen and turning on the water. It's there all the time. And that's sad because it doesn't put value on music because the artist, he trades his labor for the fans' labor. That's what it used to be, and that does not exist anymore because, like I said, the value has been put on music from where the public really exists. The rest for the music is not what it used to be, and it's really sad, and it changes the music business tremendously. Now, for a live perspective of the shows, thankfully that has not changed because if we wouldn't be talking right now. It would be over for everyone. But fortunately, we still have it for the live shows. And as far as music itself, it's no longer that it has value it once had. And it makes me really sad. Ask if he thinks the valuing of music will only get worse in the future, Blackie said. If you look at show business, technology changes show business radically over the last every 20 years because technology changes. If you go back 100 years ago and you look at silent movies, then talking movies come along and it killed the silent motion pictures. And with that, a lot of those movie stars from that silent era, they couldn't make the change into talking pictures. And then talking pictures goes for 15, 20 years, then television happens. And a lot of people then in show business can't make the transition from movies to television. And then rock radio starts to become really, really big. Then transition happens. Then MTV happens in the 80s. And a lot of bands can't make the transition from just making music to becoming a real television star. Now, you have the internet being what it is, and now you have AI and things like that. So every 20 years, the technology radically changes, and for any artist that cannot make the change, they die. So show business has shown us for the last at least 100 years that it's going to change radically every 20 years. And so for you to ask me what I'm going to think what happens, there's no way I can even begin to tell you because there's so much factors that go into the change of technology. So it's all technology now. So there you go. And my attitude of this whole thing is that, man, he's right. Everything changes. In the 80s, it was a big arena, hard rock metal shows. And then that went away 10 years later. Or 20 years, and now we're at a point where everything's like a lot of things are fake, not real, generated by computers and stuff, and people love it. There's down here in Miami, I don't know the name of the festival, there's this techno type festival where it's just DJs and shit, and they pack the place. I mean, huge field, at least 100,000 or more, and it's all just a guy up there playing records and stuff and using laptops and all this stuff, and people love it. And I could be the guy that, would look down on me when I was a little kid saying, you like garbage, that Judas Priest Iron Maiden crap. That sucks. Listen to Grateful Dead and stuff like that. I don't want to be that guy. So I'll just say screw it. Hey man, I'm old. How much longer do I have left on the planet? I can't worry about this shit anymore. I'm done. You know, I can tell you my opinion on it, but it doesn't upset me. I don't get mad about it. You know, I don't get mad about, you know, anything that's fake, whatever. It's fake. We all know it's fake. And we all know that we're kind of the minority now. The majority of society loves the fake, you know? And that was, 20 years ago, I don't think that would happen. Look what happened to Ashley Simpson. She got caught lip syncing, career over. Now you get caught lip syncing, hey, more millions in your pocket, you know? You know, I'm talking about the bigger acts like Paul Stanley of Kiss and stuff. You know, Blackie Lawless came out and said he uses tapes, but he doesn't sing the whole set using tapes. It's just, I don't even know. What I heard, because I was all the way up front, what I heard was Blackie Lawless singing with his voice singing at the same time. I heard both. You know, I was close enough to see that. But it don't matter. He still uses tape. It enhances the show. And, hey, man, nobody stopped going to see W.A.S.P. When they played that first time they came back and Blackie admitted they used tapes, they did another tour, and it was, just, if not a better turnout than the first. You know, so, yeah. I would have gone if it was closer. You know, I did go to the first one, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. But, you know, some people don't. Some people see that as fake, and, you know, and whatever. You know, everybody has their opinion and stuff. To me, Paul Stanley's more fake. You know, he's been caught away from the mic and you hear nothing, you know. So, Blackie hasn't been caught doing that shit. That I know of. Or whatever. It doesn't even matter. Whatever. W.A.S.P. I'll go see. Kiss I won't. You know, with the two imposters and the backing tapes and Gene looking like a buffoon. Yeah, I'll pass that shit. And also going back to Blackie saying how music's disposable. 100%. 100%. How many people are like me that still buy physical media out there? We are definitely the minority. You know, when I see people bitch about, oh my God, they took this album off Spotify, I chuckle like a schoolgirl. I'm like, oh yeah, I own that. So I ain't got no problem. You know, Spotify these nuts. I'm not going to depend on corporations to feed me my music. I just, me and a lot of people my generation, we love music. We're obsessed with it. Seriously, if it wasn't for music, I would hurt you. I really would. Music rules. And I will still buy physical media. No matter what. If I like it, I support. But I don't only do it to support the band. I do it for selfish reasons. I do it because I want to hold it in my hand while I play it. You know? That's total selfishness of me. But, you know, the bands don't profit much, but at least I try. Now, if everybody was like me, like the old days, bands would be doing pretty good. They wouldn't have to do the VIP shit, you know? But anyway, that is the only news that matters. What do you think? What Blackie thinks? And leave it in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching the only news that matters. Hey, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel and ring that little notification bell. I totally would appreciate that. And like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty. Listen to the first W.A.S.P. album and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston, and so nevermore shall we see you again.